Welcome to the new video format episode of DOTCAST, where we deep dive into deep minds. And today we have here with us Professor Sanjay Fuloria, Director of Center of Distance and Online Education, one of the founding pillars of Center of Excellence for Digital Transformation here at IBS-Hyderabad. He's also the faculty mentor of DOT Club, the official techno-managerial club of IBS-Hyderabad. Hello, sir. Thank you for coming here today. So I want to discuss more about AI, the conversation that we have beyond what normal conversations take place. So I want to know the concepts of AI in depth, the technical technologies. So to begin with, how did you get into the AI world and what makes you curious to learn about AI or tech in general?
Thank you, Tejas, for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast. So about AI, before generative AI came into the picture on 22nd of November 22, when the OpenAI chatbot ChatGPT was released, they had an option called Playground, and it was available for free. So I chanced upon that and I used that for some of my sessions in an MDP program, Management Development Program, and I found it to be magical. It was nowhere near what we have today, but it used to summarize text, it used to answer some basic questions. So that's what piqued my interest in this field.
Okay, sir. So there are multiple concepts associated with AI. To start off first, I want to ask, what do you mean by RAG and how can we use it?
So RAG is basically retrieval augmented generation, and as the name suggests, it retrieves data from the documents that you have uploaded or the company has uploaded. It sets context based on that, and then it asks the LLM to answer a particular question. So I'll give you an example. I recently created a chatbot which answers questions about my career. So I've called it Chat with Sanjay Fuloria. It's available on the internet. Maybe I'll share a copy with you. So if anyone asks a question about my career, my research interests, the books that I read, it will answer that question. What goes behind that is I've uploaded just two documents there. One is the PDF document of my LinkedIn profile, and second is a text document which talks in brief about my interests, mostly about my career, my professional interests. So what this RAG does is it retrieves that information from these two documents, the PDF document and text document. Then it generates a prompt based on this context and asks that LLMs, okay, answer this question. That's how it works. So it is basically like telling an assistant that you go to the library and from the library you get hold of these 5-6 books and based on that you start researching. So it's kind of that.
Okay. So how is it different from the traditional LLMs? How does it work differently?
So traditional LLM have a training cutoff date. So let's say it is 2023 January. So whatever it has been trained on, it will respond based on that.
Right.
What we are providing instead is we are providing the current context. And we can keep updating that library. So it will go to that library. So it will be more current and it will be more useful for the organization.
So this is the issue that we had in ChatGPT in the early stages where it told the data was restricted to a particular year. And then later probably they included RAG and then they updated.
They included RAG and they also have the web surfing option now, which was not there. But still, how this is better is, let's say there's an organization. For example, let's talk about McKinsey.
Right.
So McKinsey has some repository of its own. They have reports, they have presentations across industries, and they don't want it to be public. So they want to train their model using the material they have. So what LLM will do, it will go through this library which they have uploaded to train their model better. So it will give more specific answers. And then it will also take help of the internet on the wider data that it will be trained on. So the answers will be more specific to keep it short.
Recently, the OpenAI version included something called as agentic AI. Can you throw some light on that?
So agentic AI, we can think of as agents that we had earlier, right? Physical agents. So let's say I wanted to book my tour. I wanted to book plane tickets and I wanted to book hotel accommodation for a trip to somewhere.
Right.
So I would call an agency which will have agents, physical agents, and they will do the work for me. So they will give me options and I tell them, out of these options, I choose this particular option, they will go and book that. Similarly, hotel, I'll identify, okay, these are the 5 options. So imagine instead of those human agents, we have AI agents. So here we are talking about more autonomy. So you can program those agents. So let's say you want to create a booking agent. So you will say, okay, I'll create 2 agents. One will look for flight bookings and second will look for hotel bookings.
Okay.
And then there's an orchestrator agent as well. So, and this is automated. So I just have to switch them on. So one of them will go to different websites through LLMs.
Right.
Go to different websites, compare the prices depending on what query I have given. So that query is hard coded there. And then they will come up with the responses. And going to the extreme, they can even make the payments and book the tickets for you.
Okay.
Provided you give them account access, your account access, you give them credentials, if you passwords and all, then they will also do the booking for you. So a very interesting example I talk about in agentic AI is recently so there's a video which is viral. It won a particular competition, hackathon competition in the US.
Right.
So this guy wanted to get married and he wanted to fix a venue for his wedding. So he created an agent for that.
Right.
And asked the agent to inquire and gave a budget. Okay, I have this budget. These are the dates. All the details were fed into it. And this agent called each of the installations, so each of the organizations where the choices were there, and then fixed the venue for that person.
Okay. So would you trust an agentic AI to do online transactions or bank transactions on your behalf?
As of now, no, because I definitely have trust issues and you never know when the agent will go rogue. I don't know whether we have guardrails or not. So I will restrict my agent to do the groundwork and the final choice is left to me. Transactions I'll definitely never give to the agent. Transactions will be done by me.
Okay. Switching to the concept of MCP. What is MCP? How is it different from agentic AI? Is there anything similar?
So model context protocol, MCP is model context protocol, and you can understand that better when you compare it with API access.
Right.
So there are 2 ways you can access. So API access, API is application programming interface, which you are aware of. So it's like giving access to a website. It's an interface between 2 pieces of software. One software that the individual is using and second software is the website or the database from where you want access, right? So normally what we do is, let's say I want to access OpenAI. So I'll give the API, OpenAI API in my code. It will go to OpenAI, ChatGPT and get the information. If I want Google Gemini API, I'll have to give that details. Google API code I need to give. It will access from Google. Now what MCP does is it's a higher level of abstraction. Okay, so you don't have to give different API accesses. You only use MCP and it will automatically orchestrate that. So that's the basic difference. So it's one level of abstraction above. Normally, we can give an example of a restaurant. Let's say you are going to a restaurant and let's say there you have to make the payment and you are ordering 5 different dishes and you have to go to each of the counters separately to get those dishes, right? That is an example of API. So you'll go to first, get your idli, second you will go for a dosa counter, third you will go for a drink or coffee. So each counter you are going, so it's like each API is working individually.
Right.
Now contrast this with the situation, you are going to a restaurant and you are sitting there and a waiter comes to you. You narrate all your order to the waiter and waiter does the job for you. Right. So MCP is that waiter who does everything and you don't have to give individual access to each of the websites or source of data.
So Zerodha introduced their model context protocol where they integrate MCP with portfolio on their Kites platform. So where can there be instances where we can use MCP in our day-to-day lives?
In the higher education example, suppose I want to create course material which is individualized to each student.
Right.
Okay, so instead of providing APIs to different LLMs, I can use the MCP protocol, model context protocol. It will make my job easier. It will do the orchestration and student can get access to the information that he or she needs, and it is very, very individualized. So there you can use. Similarly, in a company which is generating reports, let's say. Right now, individuals are doing that, or maybe I have separate API calls to different sources, and each API is going individually and collecting that data, and then I am combining it. I can use MCP, which will do the collation of information from different websites for the report and also create the report for me at one go. So that's one That's one example that we can use.
So everyone is making these individual contributions and topics. Every company is bringing out their own AI. So we have around a whole fleet of AI for individual tasks that we prefer. So each company is developing their own models. So when it comes to India, why do you think we still don't have a new tech AI that is still being developed?
I think the government has come up with some policy, has come up with some initiative where they are trying to develop their own LLM, but we are definitely late. But to me, it seems like reinventing the wheel. What we could do is we could use the same LLM model and train it on our own data. That will be more useful and less resource intensive. Because developing these LLMs, I mean, you need a lot of training, you need a lot of energy, you need a lot of manpower for that. You need centers, data centers, and all that. So I think we need to use the existing ones and train them or fine tune them based on our own data to make it more effective in the Indian context. That's my opinion. But the government is taking steps to build their own LLM.
So when it comes to government, there's so much of confidential data associated with that. So now you see companies bringing their own proprietary AI software where they keep the data to themselves and build a AI platform around it for their internal use. Do you think government should make something like that of their own? If they do that, what are the factors that would help in making a better AI?
So absolutely, that's what it should do because data privacy is very, very important. So like I said as an answer to the previous question, what the government or what the organization should do is use the existing LLMs and make a RAG architecture, for example,
right,
and train that model using their own data and then give access to the people who they want to give access to. So that's how they should do it.
Okay. So there are all the good sides of AI. We are talking about how it can help students study better, how medical professions can use, AI to treat patients better and all that. But I also want to discuss the dark sides of AI. So one of the, topics that really interested me was model collapse. So what can you tell more about that?
So model collapses, whatever data was available on the internet has been exhausted and companies have used those data points to train their models. So now a situation is coming when the output that was generated using those LLMs is being used as input for training it further. So this leads to some kind of inbreeding where the information that you get or the answers that you get are not very good because there is something called a regurgitation there. The same thing is being output again. So this is what is called model collapse. But people have found solutions for that, wherein they are saying that we will make hybrid data as input, where 50% of the data will be synthetic data. So the data generated by LLMs is called synthetic data, and the rest will be actual real data. So this will lead to reduction in model collapse, and LLMs or models will give you better output.
Okay. So much of content is being pushed through AI, so much of video generation and so much of image generation. You're just one step away from giving a prompt to, give a video format curated the way you wanted it to be. But there could be instances where these kind of video can be edited in a way that isn't really safe or sometimes can go beyond the line. So we are talking here about deep fakes and all that. So how do we encounter these situations and how can we use any kind of security basis so that we can mitigate this situation?
So deep fakes are a big problem these days. Now, there is a solution using generative AI itself. So the original video, when it is created, there could be some watermarks which can be given to that video. So when you ask Gen AI whether this is correct or not, it will identify the watermark. The watermark exists. It is classified as real video. If it is not there, it can be classified as deep fake. And the more important thing here is educating people and creating awareness around deepfakes. What we see on WhatsApp is people keep forwarding the videos without understanding the veracity of that, without understanding whether it is deepfake or real. So people should resist from forwarding unless you are sure that the data is real. One good example I'll give you. Recently, we had a leopard roaming around our vicinity where we stay.
Okay.
And there were videos circulating that it was captured by the forest department. And they were showing a cage with an animal inside it, tied to the cage and the leopard inside the cage. Later we came to know that video was an old video which was being circulated as a response.
Right.
And later we came to know, yeah, the leopard was captured, but the real video came out later. So again, the example is, so if this video came to me, because I didn't forward this video to anyone else because I was not sure whether this is actual or not. So why create panic or why try to mislead people? So that awareness is important. And there are also some mathematical tools which can be used to reduce the impact of deepfake or to make people understand that deepfake. To make people understand whether the video is correct or not.
Okay, sir. So coming to the last questions, I want to know which different platforms of AI that you use, and then can you specify which AI that you use specifically for a particular task and any AI that people generally don't know beyond ChatGPT?
Right. So I use almost everything which comes into play, and most of them I use the free version, but I have paid accounts for many. So I use OpenAI ChatGPT, which everyone uses. I have Google Gemini. Google Gemini is free for students for 1 year, and my son has access to that. I'm using his account. I also use Grok 4. I use Anthropic Claude. I use DeepSeek, and there's one by Alibaba as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
what people say? People say that for code generation, Anthropic's Claude is the best.
Okay.
And for report generation, deep research, ChatGPT is the best. And even DeepSeek comes close to it in terms of reports and original ideas. In terms of images and videos, people have told me or I have read about on the internet that Google Gemini is good with images and video. So I will suggest that exercise your choice and try different options, try different things using different models. Whichever gives you the best results, do that. But this is my understanding as per the content I have read over the internet.
Okay, sir. So my final question to you is that if a student wants to get into AI and doesn't know anything about it, which would be some courses or some platform that he or she can refer to and learn more about it?
So every platform that we go to has courses on LLMs and agentic AI. Coursera has a lot of courses, Udemy has a lot of courses, and we have something called deeplearning.ai, which is by Andrew Ng. So some courses he teaches himself, and other courses there are companies who are supporting him, organizations and individuals who are supporting him. But one course or two courses that I will prescribe is Udemy course by Edward Donner. So Edward Donner is an ex-JPMC, JP Morgan Chase employee, and now he has his own AI company, AI and data company. And he has two courses on Udemy. One is called the LLM engineering course and the other is basics of LLM. So these two courses are good. And what is very exciting about this is he is very responsive. So if you have any queries about that course or if you get stuck somewhere, you can send an email to him. He responds. You can post a comment on LinkedIn tagging him. He will respond. If you send a message, a DM to him on LinkedIn, he will respond to that as well. So he's very responsive, and these courses, one of these courses is 6 weeks long, the other is 8 weeks long, and they are self-paced, so you can use that. And they are hands-on as well. We'll start with basics. Some videos will talk about basics. What does MCP mean? What does LLM mean? What is agentic AI? And then it'll give you real world situations, and you will also get the GitHub repository access to Edward Donner, and you can always fork that repository, you can always clone that repository and work on it. And for each of the modules, so each of the labs that he has, he also has an option of commercial application for that. Okay. So you can use your mind, you can use LLMs to create some context and see what all applications are possible using this particular framework. And you can actually make those applications. So recently I made a chat with Sanjay Fuloria use case using the same course, and I uploaded it on Hugging Face, which is a platform where you can upload the stuff. And they have something called Spaces, and that helps people ask questions about me, about my career. So you can do that. So my preference would be this Udemy course or these Udemy courses.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today.
Thank you, Tejas. It was great talking to you.